Are you ready for some football numbers? Well, the Twins won't have as many high-digit uniform numbers as they did in 2024 because multiple players have decided to take the under in 2025. Find out who's getting low once we all get locked on Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Every day, including Sunday. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Locked On Twins, your daily go-to source for the top Minnesota Twins insight, discourse, and analysis. Personally, it's my favorite show of the Locked On Podcast Network, the Imperial Locked On Podcast Network, which, by the way, brings you your team every day. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe where applicable. I'm Dave Brown, an MLB writer since Orlando Merced moved out so AJ Przinsky could wear number 9. I'm also a BBWA member and a Baseball Hall of Fame voter. Across the Great Plains of cyberspace is Brandon Warren, a longtime Twins writer and an even longer time Twins fan who is now the big shot site expert at Puckett's Pond. Be sure to read our work over there. Today's show is all about big numbers, the kind of numbers ball players wear when they play offensive line in football, or when baseball teams run out of numbers that are a little closer to zero. But first, you want to talk about big numbers, please realize that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's all you need. So get it right and get paid. Big numbers, Brandon. Big numbers. The Twins last year had a lot of big numbers. They still have some big numbers this year, but there's a bunch of players, and this is a public service show, basically, who have switched numbers. And most of these numbers have gone down significantly. And I mean like their uniform numbers.
Like the Twins offense in September.
Hey-o. I made
Sorry,
note
I'm
of
trying
this.
to delete it.
No, that's fine. It's true. It's just you bring back some big bad memories.
Yeah.
Now, when I asked Austin Martin about this last year, the Twins were in Kansas City for opening day, so I had time to ask silly questions, as is my wont. And he was wearing number 82, which to me sounds like you want to go over the middle or do a fly pattern or maybe a quick out as a wide receiver in the NFL.
Kadri Ishmael, I think, for the Vikings back in the day.
There you go. I like the linkage. And he's like, nah, it doesn't. There's no meaning to it. He just said it's a number, and it's what he's wearing, and there's no big deal. But this year, he's come to camp, and he's not 82 anymore, but he's 16, which was worn by Steven Okert last year in 2024. So you want to talk about inheriting some good luck. So 16 is more of it's act like you've been here before.
I've got
82,
it on my wall.
There you go. It's Kubel. He's got the Kubel juice. Austin Martin wearing 82. That's for spring training.
Yep.
And for the regular season in 24. Now he's 16. And look how he's playing in the out. He's playing much better. Maybe that's why. He's playing better in the outfield.
I love the idea of act like you've been there before when I literally have not. Act like you've been in the end zone before. Well, yeah, act like you've been in the big leagues before, Austin Martin, and get a real number, Funny thing is with me, I feel like, as someone who works in baseball, you'd think that like I would have an encyclopedic knowledge of certain things. And one of those being like player numbers. That is a blind spot for me outside of the most like Joe Mauer, Kent Herbeck. I was looking at a Kent Herbeck shirt online, and I obviously remember he's number 14. Kirby Puckett's 34. Justin Morneau had two numbers, 27 and 33. Actually, I think it was the opposite order there. But as far as like player numbers, that is a huge blind spot for me. And it's funny because I'll remember something I said in second grade to my teacher, but I won't remember that Bailey Ober wears
17.
17. Okay, I was going to guess something like that. I don't know. And I know like single digit pitchers is rare. Isn't like Jack Flaherty number 9?
Yeah, he's been number 9. I think he is again because he's back with the Tigers. So
I mean, there's like just really weird ones that I remember that I really have no business remembering. And then you might say, what number does Byron Buxton wear? And I'll need a minute to remember.
I believe it's 25.
Yep. I actually literally tweeted a picture of him saying, hopefully 25 has a big year in 25. And I still had to think about it just now. Again, like I said, it's just a weird blind spot for me that I have come to grips with in my life.
You got one of them brains, don't you?
Yeah, it's the more I hear about what neurodivergence is, the more I'm like the Leo DiCaprio pointing at the TV meme. That's
All right, so this is probably pointless, but Deshaun Kersey changed his number. Do you know either of them? You don't. There's no way.
I feel like he would have been like an astonishingly high number last year, like
pretty high.
71.
Too low, Bob Barker.
87.
Keep going.
89.
Yes.
Okay.
Only three guesses. Not bad.
That's not horrible. And what is he now, like 23?
Almost 21. Which is a great baseball number.
It's objectively 16 is mine for numerous reasons.
Yeah.
But 21 is a good baseball number.
I like to wear 5 and 9. George Brett, Ted Williams kind of thing. When I was in Little League, those were my two numbers. So I like the prime baseball number. And I was not nearly. I was no Jack Kennedy, no Ted Williams, no George Brett in Little League. So
you didn't have carte blanche to hold out for the right number.
I don't know if people were as like into. I was a baseball fan. I mean, I guess everyone was on my team, but I always it always seemed like I liked baseball more than the other people.
No, you know what's funny? That reminds me, when I played in college, and I played 1 year at a school where basically if you wanted to play, you could play. I was a decent player, but I mentioned in the last episode that I broke my back when I was a kid. And so my athleticism is more limited to mentally being prepared for every single, whatever. And so I was good enough to play a little bit. And we were in fall practice that first year, and the shortstop and I were just kind of chatting. I think I was at second base during practice, just running the bases. And I said, you kind of look like Jason Kubel. And he goes, I have no idea who that is. And I'm thinking to myself, let's see, what was I at this point? 21, because it was like fall of 2007. Mm-hmm. And I just remember thinking to myself, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm a Brewers fan, but I don't really like. He just was a ball player. And it shocked me that the way I consumed the game and the way some guys who played Division III baseball was still night and day.
I just saw a video that my wife showed me. She's been watching a lot of baseball videos to get into the season and stuff like the Twins produce. And it was of, I don't know exactly what the setting was, but it was Blake Snell in Dodgers camp opening baseball cards.
Oh, you sent me that. Yeah.
Did I? And see, we have a blind spot. I have a blind spot too, Brandon. And he was just
better than a bald spot.
It's true. I mean, I suppose it'll come receding recession. But he was just so excited to open the cards, and he was like, give me a Shohei, anything for a show. And he was like, he wanted great players, and he wanted like value out of the cards. And
dude, Shohei, you play with Shohei. You don't need a card.
You probably get some cards from Shohei, but
yeah,
he presented himself as a guy who was a baseball fan in addition to being a player. And to the point, it's not. I mean, I don't think everyone has to fan in the same way, but I like that about him. Mm-hmm. He seemed to be the opposite of your
kind of a dork, a baseball dork.
Oh boy, big time.
Matt Strom has his own, or had his own TV show for card collecting. I don't know if you knew that.
I wasn't sure about that. I knew that he is big into the audio video.
It used to air during or between Twins games on the Bally, if I can say that word to you out loud. The Bally network with a bunch of other different, one-off, here's the SWAC conference tournament for women's basketball from 9 years ago. And you're like, I don't know why this is on my TV, but
is he North Dakota?
Yeah, I think he was from West Fargo or Fargo. I mean, basically the same city, just West Fargo is more developed now. And so the Roger Maris capital of the United States is now extending to Matt Strom, and actually Eric Swanson from the Blue Jays is from that area too. And he actually owns a farm in the same town I grew up in.
Well, maybe you can go to work for him one day, like working the pigs.
I think I'll pass.
Speaking of pass, we're going to pass on the show to one of our sponsors, maybe two of them.
Yeah,
two of them. Then we'll come back and talk more about big numbers and the Twins.
Well, if you want to do big numbers and scale your business properly, it requires the right expertise at the right time. And with Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with the top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI. By the way, Rocco Baldelli, very handsome if you ask AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. You can find the right talent, hire quickly and easily, and it's cost-effective growth. Instead of hiring full-time, Upwork helps find affordable, top-tier freelancers to scale your business efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's Upwork.com. Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. And we're right in the thick of it with college basketball, and that means you got to check out FanDuel. March Madness is here as we're recording. I actually have a game on next to me. You might be able to see the reflection in the picture behind me. And FanDuel, though, is ready to give you the chance to get in on the action as never before, because right now new customers can get 200 big ones, $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. There's going to be a lot of Cinderella action. I can feel it in my bones, and you need to get in on it with FanDuel. You have a lot of different options. Pick your favorites. If you're watching for DePaul like Dave is, you're going to probably be left standing out in the dark, out in the cold, out in the rain. But could be worse. I'm also with the Minnesota folks, so not much going on there. But if you're like Dave and like me, you can stay in the action with tournament games happening almost every day. There's always something exciting to bet on. And the app could not be easier to use, and you can cash in right away. When you win, get paid instantly. No waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action, easy for me to say, all tournament long.
Locked on Twins is back. We have a kind of a special show talking about Twins uniform numbers for this season and focusing on players, some of whom actually aren't with the team anymore, but it's interesting to talk about anyway to me. Going from these football numbers, Austin Martin, 82 down to 16. Actually, 16 is a pretty good football number, like for Joe Montana.
Well, and it's now in the new NFL, 16 could be anything from a quarterback to a defensive end, I think.
And a wide receiver. Yeah, there's almost no limitation there. I think the only thing that's limited is like offensive linemen, so they know who's eligible and who's not. I think that's.
I feel like maybe I'm reading this wrong, but I could see you being a man yells at clouds like this isn't the way it used to be, and I don't like it. But I could be projecting here.
I don't know that I am quite the person that yells at the with football numbers, but it is difficult on my brain when I see guys wearing like 4 on defense, because it's like it used to be if they wore 50s, occasionally 60s or 90s, they'd be linebackers. Now you have all that, plus they could be any number. So is he
very college football-y?
Yes, it's like college football. So my brain is not happy, but it's not something I complain about because I know how important numbers are, even in silly ways to people. So if they feel like 4, if this strong safety feels like 4, Jaquan Brisker, if that suits him, then he should get to wear that. So I'm with it. I don't know that my brain will ever adapt, but it's something I have to live with.
Kind of late for that now anyway.
Yes. You're telling me. So we've talked about the Austin Martin going from 82 to 16, to Sean Kersey from 89 to 21. He's having a great camp. He was traded. I started to write the outline for this episode January 31st to give you an idea of how long it's been percolating.
Yeah, we've been thinking about this for a while. Well,
Michael Hellman was still with the team for about a week at that point. He had switched, and this is just from 92 to 1. So he went about as far down as you could. There was that's the biggest gulf I've ever seen. I don't know if anybody's gone from 99 to 1, but Michael Hellman got close.
I know somebody who went from 99 to out of the league.
Yeah, really.
That was Logan Morrison.
Whoops. Nick Gordon was the previous guy to wear number 1 with the Twins in 2023. Brooks Lee.
Well, when I rebooted my account, I'm no longer blocked by Nick Gordon. So who's the winner now? Really. I don't even think, by the way, that I don't think, and I'm looking again just to confirm, but I don't think Hellman's expected to make the Cardinals either. So yeah, he's not projected to make their opening day roster. So
well, has he been sent down yet?
Unclear. I use Roster Resource, so it's he can make it over, I guess, Jose Fermin maybe. But right now their bench is looking like Lucan Baker, Nolan Gorman, Jose Fermin, and then I know it's not Pedro Pages, but is it Pedro Paez or how do you?
I believe it's Pajes.
Pajes. Oh yeah, based on the tilde above the e. Pajes sounds right.
That's not a tilde, but that's all right. It's just an accent mark.
Oh, it's not a tilde. Okay.
The tilde is above the N. It's a vowel.
Enye. The Enye.
Yeah, the Enye. That's actually Enye is a different letter in the Spanish alphabet. It's kind of confusing.
And Ya plays the music when you're doing yoga. So it's
Michael Hellman optioned to minors 316 4 days ago.
Steve Austin, rude.
Brooks Lee, 72.
I would have gotten that one.
Oh, yeah. I was going to stop with the game, but whatever. Down to number 2. 72, of course, is always going to be William the Refrigerator Perry. That's, to me, that's the only 72.
Maybe that was the inspiration for Lee bulking up a little bit this offseason.
Maybe. I think we'll see if I ask him, if I get a chance. But
there's an
like
old episode of WCW Nitro, and this like my entire personality is pro wrestling and unsolved mysteries. But Steve Mongo McMichael, who's in the fight for his life with ALS, was one of the initial color commentators when the show debuted in '95. And early on, they had Fridge come out, and he just walks onto the set. I don't even think he said anything because it probably wouldn't have been a good idea. But he just looks gigantic, and he's wearing like one of those old man sweaters, and I think he's wearing one of those. What's the cap where it clips down on the front?
Yeah, like a not a page boy, but a paper boy hat, or maybe
kind of. But I think it's leather. Like he's dressed in only Refrigerator Perry in 1995 could be
right,
and very small. Inconsequential bit there, but of course I spent a whole minute on it.
No, that's okay. Steve McMichael, probably my favorite Bear from those teams who wasn't named Walter Payton. So he was a trip. Before
he got sick, there was a Twitter account dedicated to the goofy things he said as a wrestler.
Yeah.
Like there were numerous times where he's coming down the entrance ramp and he's yelling like, "Boy, you better believe I'm going to beat you from one end of this place to the other." Like it's apropos of it. Like he would just, and his drawl, because he's from Texas.
Right.
But he's also, I mean, they called him Mongo for a reason. He would say some of the he was on the broadcast team to start, and he's like, "Make sure you go get grandma out of the bathroom because them boys are about to be out here wrestling." And I'm just like, that was such a good account. And then Mongo got sick and they felt wrong about kind of poking fun at him. But I think he's nearing the end of his race, and we hope the best for him.
I had a chance to meet him a couple times, and at least in those opportunities, super nice guy. Definitely, a wrestler on the outside, a pro
larger
wrestler,
than life.
Bombast, yes. And larger than life in real life, but somebody you could have actual conversation with and not be intimidated. So
Eric Bischoff would say, kind of funny, Mongo liked to party. He was a wild dude, man. He was special guy.
Let me do a couple more of these, and then we'll do our final break.
Deal.
Brooks Lee 72 down to 2, and that 2 you can divide into 72 equally. I think
36 times.
36. Simeon Woods Richardson 78, which I kind of liked because his name is so long. You want a long number. I mean, not a long number, but 78's pretty high up there. He's down to 24, which is his prerogative.
He should have had 3 numbers. Like
he should.
With Richardson, number 128.
That's a great idea. I'm going to steal that. If I do this, if I extend this bit to the players, I'm going to ask a question.
Like, hey, Simeon, did they ask you if you wanted to wear 129? Like, right. You're in your draft pick in the 4th round of the
numbers, you fill out your back better.
Yeah, right. Maybe he needs to be on the Brooks Lee lifting regimen and get that V shape. That
I
V shape
there, but Jair Camargo, kind of a funny choice here. Went from 85 to 77. He just wanted to drop 8 points. That's it. He's still a football number though. Going from wide receiver to offensive lineman, and that's good for now. We'll
wasn't Edouard Julien like 76 for a while?
Hang on, that's in another segment.
Oh, well, let's do this. Let's take the break, and then while you're doing your little bit there, we'll
all right.
We'll hear from some sponsor friends.
All right.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Jake Berger, number 21, and Eno Saris, number 1 in our hearts. Thank you, boys.
Unless you're Eric Hosmer.
That's true. And maybe even Mustakas and Butler, Billy Butler. They didn't like beat up Eno once. I think I was there for some of it. Harrison Bader, I don't know what number he wore last year, but he's got 12.
I don't know why, but 25 sounds right.
That's Buxton. Oh, yeah.
Well, he wasn't a Twin last year, Goof.
He wasn't. And you know who wore 12 last year for the Twins?
Kyle Farmer, I think.
That's right. And you say you don't know. So
last year, Bader wore 44. Sorry, I keep interrupting. Bader has never worn the same number at any stop on a new team. 48.
He's a clean slate.
48, 22, 4, and 44. Who was the 4 with? That was Cincinnati. I forgot he was a Red for 14 games at the end of 2023.
Yeah, that was a trade deadline deal, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that was. Who was that trade for? It was for Jordan Montgomery, of course. No, waivers. He was on waivers. He got claimed off waivers. Wow. Sorry, I had the initial trade, which was an interesting one, flip-flopped. But off waivers, so just a straight up waiver claim.
Here are some numbers. There's a few guys who still got the high numbers in the Twins, in addition to Camargo, who got sent down. Jorge Alcala, 66. Jose Miranda, 64. They didn't see fit to move down. Our friend Matt Cantorino, 83. Aberson Castellano, 63. Marco Rea, 85. Bears. Brock Stewart, 61. Hamstrings. Diego Cartaya, 62. So there's still lots of Twins representing the big numbers. Some ex-Twins. Carlos Santana got 41 back with the Guardians. He had it there a couple times. Max Kepler will wear 17. He couldn't wear 26 in Philly because that's Chase Utley. It's not retired, but
they're
fixing to, I'm sure. Caleb Thielbar, who is still tracking to make the Cubs, will wear number 24. That was Cody Bellinger's number last year. And Farmer, our friend, he's having himself, and I mean that HALV, having. He's going to wear number 6 with the Rockies. He went from 12 to 6, so it's like a curveball.
Thielbar's not
you
pitching
can't
so
throw
bad.
in Coors. You cannot throw in Coors Field, but
No.
he's gonna wear number 6 for the Rockies. Maybe throw some Rocky Mountain oysters at some guys when they hit home runs.
Thielbar's looked okay this spring, so you know what? If it's gonna be good for somebody for Thielbar, at least it's in the other league.
Hopefully so. And I don't know if the Cubs come to Minnesota or.
I think
Twins-
with the
Twins go
Central,
there.
do they do both?
Everybody plays everybody. Oh, the Central. I don't
I
think
can't
so.
remember.
I don't
Okay,
think so anymore.
I think that
You know,
changed with the.
the only thing they might do is do a home and home with the Brewers, and I don't even know if that's true.
They always do a home and home with the Brewers. Yeah, the rivalry ones for sure do that.
Yeah. Should be the White Sox, but nobody cares.
Well, and you already play. It's not 19 anymore. What is it? 13 or I don't remember. It used to be 19 games every year against the rest of the division.
It was as many as that. Yes.
I think it's 13 or 14 now.
I think you're right. You asked about Edouard Julien. He might have wore number 76 in spring training. Perhaps you have a memory of that, but Baseball Reference does not have a record of him being anything but 47. So
that shows you how well I am
right.
with numbers. I'm looking it up to backdoor it, and it's probably not going to show up.
It's up to you. So this last segment, they wore what? Some funny numbers with the Twins, funky numbers. Billy Hamilton was 0 in 2022. And it's funny because he can go from 0 to 60 in, no time flat. Maybe that's what he was thinking. Junior Ortiz was 0, probably not 0, but 0 as in Ortiz.
He was Scott Erickson's personal catcher.
That's right. Your friend, I don't know if you have one of these Jason Kubel jerseys, but he wore number 1 in 2004. That seems very much not like him. But.
In fact, my I joined a forum called baseball.com, believe it or not. And my little signature was Jason Kubel is number 1. And it was because he wore number 1 before he switched to 16, because I don't remember who had 16 before him, but it was unavailable.
Sounds like a pitcher or something.
Yeah,
Luis Ariz and Brian Dozier both wore number 2, and they also played second base.
Hey,
I found that almost interesting. Harmon Killebrew wore number 3 and played first base, which is 3 on defense. If you're
by the way, Kubel wore 13 when he retired with the Twins. He had that kind of ugly stint in like 2014, but he came back and wore 13. So that was interesting too. Before Kubel wearing 16, by the way, just because this matters to me and only me, was Bailey Ober wore it for a year. Jason Kubel, Glenn Williams, and Doug Minkiewicz, former guest of the show. That's right.
Anthony Masavich of his time.
Well, so he was 16, and Minkiewicz was traded at the deadline to the Red Sox in 2004, held the baseball after that World Series and that whole rigmarole. But Jason Kubel came up in 2004, and then, Minkiewicz was traded when the Red Sox were at the Metrodome, so he only had to, mosey across the I guess, I don't know how I was guessing the concourse, but that's probably not technically true.
The tunnel, the Bob Casey tunnel?
Yes.
Did he get blown down there because of the air pressure keeping the dome up?
Thank you for clarifying. I don't know the answer, no matter the context.
Some other funny numbers. Bailey Ober, you mentioned him. He wore 82 in 2021.
That feels kind of right. Like big dude, big jersey number. I think it's pretty good. I think that Alex Spees should lean into the Wild thing and just be number 99.
Well, maybe. I mean, that's maybe
flying too close to the sun.
Easier to do than actually throwing fewer balls. But Griffin Jacks was 83 in 2021.
I do remember that
a little bit. Trevor Larnach has had 3 different numbers, and they're all kind of cool. 24, 13, and 9. I don't know if he's working his way 11 down to 4. There's not a pattern here that I can see. So
no, it's like one of those Facebook things where it's like only 1% can solve this equation, and it's not a real equation.
My notes are out of order here, but Ober started at 62. You mentioned he was 16, and then he jumped up 1 to 17. I think it's because Ohtani wears 17. That's the number of honor in Japan for the ace of the staff, and I think that's what he's going for. He'd never admit to that, though. I don't think.
So who was 17 before Ober in 2021? Jose Barrios. So when Barrios left, Ober, nope. Then it was Chris Archer for a year, and then Ober took it, and he's had it since.
I see. Joe Ryan has gone from 74. That's just not happening. That's not a great number for football.
No.
For 41.
I wore number 76, so I can kind of relate.
And again, out of order, Jack's 83 down to 65, and then finally to 22. And
next
Ryan,
22, it feels right. Yeah,
it does. I could see Jack's being like 77 though, because he's got a funky last name, some kind of cool, weird deal there. But it's too late. He's 22. That's it. No going back. Ryan Jeffers was 39 for some reason in 2020, but it was the pandemic. Nobody.
Yeah, no recollection of that. I think Chris Jimenez was 39 when he was here.
Maybe it's the same jersey. But we want to thank you. No, we want to thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast with hosts Dominic Martino and Matthew Ane. MLB Fantasy Draft season is here. Aquí pronto. Be the most informed fan and set yourself up for a league win. Find Locked On Twins on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Jimenez was 38, by the way.
Oh, so the catchers were like numbered next to each other.
Yep.
38 and 39.
Yep.
Very good. Well, those are your numbers. I'm Dave Brown. He's Brandon Warren. Wishing all a very pleasant good evening from Locked On Twins land, saying that we will Alexei. What number was Alexei Casilla? 21.
Is he two?
We're gonna Alexei. I'm doing slow Casilla tomorrow night.
I'll give you some.
He's 25 and 12. 25 and 12. See you tomorrow.